Good evening, campers, and welcome aboard the Starship Nightwish. This little gem came out on Galnet earlier today as the Stargoids get closer and closer to the bubble and to the center of human civilization. There's been a lot of talk back and forth about what should be done. You've got your military types that are ready to blow them up. You've got your hippies that are singing Kumbaya around the Thargoid structures, wanting peace, love, and all that nonsense. And here we've got this. News feeds across the core systems have reflected the increasing public demand for full-scale military cooperation against the Thargoids. It's pretty apparent that that is what most people prefer based on the Thargoids' behavior, their whole blowing up space stations and ships and stuff. Federal Free Press says that removing the Far God cult from the federal space was a way of distracting the people from President Hudson's failures. Even in the middle of potential human demise, the media has got to put in their little jabs. The real threat remains from the Thargoids themselves, and there is little chance of withstanding them without Allied and Imperial aid. As a student of military studies and the way the bubble is set up, the way human civilization in the Elite Dangerous world is established, yes, there is no hope for humanity to survive in its current state without unity between the three superpowers. Because whatever's coming doesn't care what you're aligned with. It's coming for all of us. The Citizen's Chronicle, with the greatest respect to Her Majesty, the Empire cannot pretend that it played no part in the disaster at HIP 22460. Surely we're strong enough to shoulder some of the burden in defeating this common enemy. And in the Old World's Gazette, after the Aegis Symposium, Deputy Prime Minister Angela Corcoran supported reinstating the Tri-Superpower Agency, claiming that the scale of the conflict deserves a stronger response than our pact with serious corporation can provide. And this is consistent. We saw the graffiti that appeared in some of the stations, Save Us Aegis. So there is a push out there to restore the Aegis Corporation and get back to killing bugs. The Marlin Standard says the proximity of the Thargoids to our democratic republic has always been a major concern. You think? Parliament has agreed that any collaborative anti-Xeno initiative would be of great interest. It's good, and there's a couple more of these to go through. But it's good to see that, the Empire's got its way of doing things. The Federation, the Alliance, everybody has their own way of doing things. But there is a growing sense that, war is coming. Like, flat-out war is coming. And if it does, the best way to win said war is to do it together. So that's a big deal. Kudos to everybody for at least acknowledging the importance of unity in military operations. Sol today, we all know that you can't trust the imps or the alliers, but at least they're not vicious genocidal monstrosities. And as General Falconwraith famously said, the enemy of my enemy is my disposable infantry. So that first part was written by the 3308 version of Vox, and that last part was written by Stars and Stripes from 3308. The Sovereign, the Xeno Peace Movement, as espoused by our very own Haimar Borichev, is laudable, but many independent systems are demanding a less diplomatic strategy. It depends. I think that diplomacy is important, but if they show up at your doorstep with a gun and they're ready to fire, talking is probably not going to be the first method that we use for this. Vox Galactica, the demands for a solution to the Thargoids are becoming more strident. According to the unofficial reports, some low-level civil and military leaders have begun talking across the political divides. Despite the lack of direction from their superiors, there's clearly a growing appetite for solidarity, whether through Aegis or some other means. Now, this is very important. This particular paragraph really drives home a historical fact that a lot of military conflicts were successful because military leaders amongst themselves collaborated and spoke with each other, developed strategy without the authority and the permission of their senior civilian or military, whatever leaders were above them. A lot of times they had to go to the strategic level or the tactical level leaders that were their parity. So you want those allies to work together. And let's say that the governments of the superpowers, the Empire, the Alliance, and the Federation, they're bureaucratic monsters. And so they're very slow to work, and they're very slow to get anything done together. And so when you get to the point where something happens, say you have a major all-out war, somebody needs to be prepared. And it's one of those things where you can ask for forgiveness later. You're not saying that they're doing a mutiny or they're doing anything outside of norms. They're just getting prepared. It's good to be prepared. It's good to have a plan. I would feel better knowing that the military services from the three superpowers are talking to each other and they have a plan, even if it's not wholly sanctioned by each of their individual bureaucracies, that there is something that if, say tomorrow this Stargoid appears, and let's say it's a quarter the size of Earth's moon and starts blowing up cities, it's good to have, something to fall back on. So that's very interesting. Just a quick little Galnet article there. It's really heating up. There's big things coming, and who knows where it's going to go. All I can say is fly safe out there, Commanders. 07.